What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about the Boston Marathon. Marathon running is a huge part of how I am here today speaking to you on this camera. Long ago, in 2009, I was 312 pounds, almost exactly. At that point in my life, I hadn't been taking care of myself. I was eating terribly. I don't think I exercised a minute of any day. I had never run a mile, probably in maybe 30 years or so since elementary school. And really, I was in shambles both physically and mentally. I ended up having a heart attack at 27, and then I discovered running as I started to lose weight, and I needed to find something that was going to bring me back to life. I discovered marathon running and did my first marathon in 2012. Prior to that, I had done half marathons and sort of worked up to it. After that, I ended up doing 7 marathons in my life, the last one now almost a decade ago. Marathon running means a lot to me. It's one of the reasons why I'm here, and it really was the start of this journey that brought this version of myself to you. Nike recently made news when they had a slogan for the Boston Marathon that essentially said, "Runners welcome, walkers tolerated." I think the idea was that they were trying to motivate the runners that are out there, and people felt a way about it. Running, and marathon running specifically, means a lot to me. As somebody who, again, did 7 of them, the Boston Marathon I always saw as sort of the pinnacle event. Keep in mind, the Boston Marathon is probably the most prestigious marathon in the world, and over the years, its popularity has continued to grow and grow. But even before this popularity, ever since the bombing, you had to qualify. This race was the race. If you're going to qualify for any marathon, if you are a serious marathon runner, this is the race that you wanted to do. Of course, over time, charity events, being able to run the race for charity, became a lot more commonplace. And so you had a lot more people being allowed entry into this race. Some of them had to qualify, and the times are very, very difficult. And others had to raise a ton of money or be part of charity or really know somebody who could get them into this race. Why is this slogan controversial? Well, this slogan is controversial because it is seemingly exclusive, that if you are walking this marathon, that you are not welcome here. And when I thought about it, I thought, I'm a big fan of inclusion. I don't like the idea of unnecessary exclusion. But in this particular case, my opinion on this is probably different than a lot of people think that it's going to be. The Boston Marathon means something. It is prestigious. It's supposed to be difficult. And many of the people that are there, sans the charity part of it, are there because they have worked very, very hard to get there. They have really put, in a lot of cases, blood, sweat, and tears, sometimes all at once, to be able to qualify. There are people who are natural athletes, of course. I'm not one of them. But there are people who are going to be able to do this because that is their fitness level, that is their genetics. But there are people like me who maybe have worked so hard to try and qualify, and to be able to get in and run this race, which, by the way, is one of, if not the toughest marathon in the entire world, that means something. There is a prestige that goes along with it. And I think there is sort of an us versus them mentality for those people looking at all the charity people and feeling like maybe the race is being watered down. I certainly can understand that argument, and I certainly can understand Nike going back to its roots a little bit and really feeding competition, trying to stoke the flames of competition with these people who, again, have really dedicated their lives to getting into this race and probably are dedicated marathon runners. Rarely is the first marathon, again, unless you know somebody, the Boston Marathon. Nike made a misstep in some ways because they didn't think about the fact that the Boston Marathon is inclusive of a lot more people now. But I don't think that this campaign slogan was really meant for those people. I think that this campaign slogan was meant for those who have trained hard, and it was meant to be motivating. Again, as somebody who has ran an entire marathon, there is a distinct difference between running a marathon and completing a marathon. I didn't run every marathon from start to finish. Some of them were harder than others, and some of them my training just didn't translate to race day. It's going to happen. The Chicago Marathon was my first marathon, and while I did get by the finish line, I don't feel like I ran it because my body started falling apart 13 miles in. But my best time, the Richmond Marathon, I ran that entire race. It hurt. I wanted to walk, but I ran it the entire time. And to me, there is a big difference between running a marathon as it's intended and completing a marathon. It doesn't take away the accolades that you should bestow upon yourself, because running a marathon changes lives. It changed my life. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't complete my first marathon, didn't realize that I could do anything that I wanted. I know that I wouldn't be here. And so when I look at this controversy that's come of this, while it has passed, I do think that it's important to recognize the fact that Nike needs to find out what their identity is at the forefront. I think they've lost their way a little bit, and I think that sneaker culture and this huge boom that happened in the pandemic has caused Nike to go down this road where I think they're trying to placate to almost too many audiences. Remember, Nike used to be a running company. Blue Ribbon Sports started as a running company. And I think Nike has been struggling to find their identity again. What identity do they want to have? And I think that this campaign slogan, which again wasn't meant for everybody, was an attempt to get back to the old days, to get back to that competitiveness that Nike was known for, and to just do it, folks. And Nike is probably feeling like they're on the outside looking in when it comes to this. This whole controversy should teach everybody a lesson. Number one is not everything is meant for everybody. There can be levels to things, and I think the Boston Marathon, there are levels. The people that are completing it at an elite level are different than the people that are completing it at the times that you need to qualify, and those people are different than the people that are completing it and running it slower for charity. To me, that's okay. All of those things can exist. The campaign slogan wasn't meant for everybody, and maybe that's a distinction that Nike needs to make. Maybe that's why Nike needs to figure out, who do I want to be going forward? But I wanted to come on here and speak from experience of somebody who has ran marathons, multiple of them, and let you know that there is a difference in a lot of people's minds. When you have worked really hard for something to do it the way that it was intended, that feels different than when you just sort of get by. And that's a lesson for all of life. Put all of yourself into things. Do the best that you can at everything that you do. Don't always settle for good enough. And it's okay that sometimes good enough is all that you can do. That is your best. It is okay. I think Nike is struggling on how to sort of mobilize that. And this was a misstep that, while I don't necessarily feel Nike should have been raked over the coals for, I don't feel that they should have changed it. Can understand all sides of the argument. Hope this finds everybody well. Hope this finds everybody safe. And I'll see you in the next one.